Paul, a servant of Christ Jesus, called to be an apostle and set apart for the gospel of God. The gospel he promised beforehand through his prophets in the holy scriptures regarding his son, who was a descendant of David according to the flesh, and who through the spirit of holiness was declared with power to be the Son of God by his resurrection from the dead. Jesus Christ our Lord. Through him and on behalf of his name we receive grace and apostleship to call all those among the Gentiles to the obedience that comes from faith. And you also are among those who are called to belong to Jesus Christ. To all in Rome who are loved by God and called to be saints, grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you, because your faith is being proclaimed all over the world. God, whom I serve with my spirit and preaching the gospel of his son, is my witness how constantly I remember you in my prayers at all times, asking that now at last by God's will I may succeed in coming to you. For I long to see you so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to strengthen you. That is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith. I do not want you to be unaware, brothers, how often I plan to come to you, but have been prevented from visiting until now, in order that I might have a harvest among you, just as I have had among the other Gentiles. I am obligated both to Greeks and non-Greeks, both to the wise and the foolish. That is why I am so eager to preach the gospel also to you who are in Rome. I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes. First to the Jew, then to the Greek, for the gospel reveals the righteousness of God that comes by faith from start to finish. Just as it is written, the righteous will live by faith.
Yeah. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. For what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from his workmanship, so that men are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking and darkened in their foolish hearts. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images of mortal men and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore God gave them over in the desires of their hearts to impurity, for the dishonoring of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the creator, who is forever worthy of praise. Amen. For this reason God gave them over to dishonorable passions. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. Likewise the men abandoned natural relations with women to burn with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. Furthermore, since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, he gave them up to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossip, slanderers, God haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent new forms of evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, merciless. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things are worthy of death, they not only continue to do these things, but also approve of those who practice them.
You, therefore, have no excuse, you who pass judgment on another. For on whatever grounds you judge the other, you are condemning yourself, because you who pass judgment do the same things. And we know that God's judgment against those who do such things is based on truth. So when you, oh man, pass judgment on others, yet do the same things, do you think you will escape God's judgment? Or do you disregard the riches of his kindness, tolerance, and patience, not realizing that God's kindness leads you to repentance? But because of your hard and unrepentant heart, you are storing up wrath against yourself for the day of wrath. When God's righteous judgment will be revealed, God will repay each one according to his deeds. To those who by perseverance in doing good seek glory, honor, and immortality, he will give eternal life. But for those who are self-seeking and who reject the truth and follow wickedness, there will be wrath and anger. There will be trouble and distress for every human being who does evil. First for the Jew, then for the Greek. But glory, honor, and peace for everyone who does good. First for the Jew, then for the Greek. For God does not show favoritism. All who sin apart from the law will also perish apart from the law. And all who sin under the law will be judged by the law. For it is not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but it is the doers of the law who will be declared righteous. Indeed, when Gentiles who do not have the law do by nature what the law requires, they are a law to themselves, even though they do not have the law. So they show that the work of the law is written on their hearts, their consciences also bearing witness, and their thoughts either accusing or defending them on the day when God will judge men's secrets through Christ Jesus, as proclaimed by my gospel.
Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. You know what we're about to do. Let's get at it. Let's get active. Have to be Wednesday to y'all. Happy hump day. It's been a great day. I see somebody said it's been a long day. It's been a busy day over here at Whitaker Park. We had a lot going on, but by God's grace, we got a lot of stuff done. I'm looking forward to it. Yes, last night after I signed off, yes, I went and worked out. I went and did my 2.5 miles. Yes, I got my shoes right here. And yes, your boy is going walking after I get done tonight. Because I got to look, man, I can't be 52 looking like this. It just can't be. So anyway, y'all gonna be on this journey with me. Follow me on my second channel. I talk about all of my physical fitness, my midlife crisis updates. But guess what? Y'all didn't come here today for that. Y'all want to hear what's going on? Y'all wanted me to introduce you to yet another great content creator. And I think I'll do that for you. I think I will. So let's get at it. Grace and peace to everybody. Hopefully you all had a beautiful day. Thank you so much for tapping in. Stay around to the end. I got another great song at the end. I'm trying some things out. So I'm looking forward to you emailing management. Let me know what you think about it. Do y'all realize I got all my lights on? There we go, man. What kind of production we got over here? we gotta set ourselves right, man. Producer Jason, get your life together. All right, let me go ahead. With no further ado, let me introduce you to my guest. Ryan Mauro is in the building. Let us go. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Quite well, sir. Grace and peace to you. Glad you come by tonight. Thank you so very much. Now, you wouldn't put a jacket on. Now I got to go look professional, man.
I need to trick people to thinking I'm like an authority and a professional or something like that.
I got you, man. Darn. All right, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna run and go grab me a sport coat or something.
No. But then I'll look as authoritative, man. I need you to dress actually more like a slob.
Okay, there we go.
That'll help me, and then I can be the professional guy and talk like I'm a professor.
I love it. All right. Well, real quick, Ryan, just in case people don't know, you've been all over these YouTube streets. You've been everywhere. I appreciate you taking time to hang out with us today on the J-Wick podcast. Real quick, tell me, give us a little bit update. Who is Ryan? What are you about?
So Ryan is someone who's having his own midlife crisis because I just turned 40. But
Congratulations.
Thank you. I started my career doing intelligence analysis when I was 16 years old. That was back in 2002. Just kind of a miraculous thing that happened. I was obsessed with this topic of international security, intelligence, influence operations. And it's honestly like the only thing I've done ever. Like I don't have hobbies besides this. And so that just led to me working for different organizations, different nonprofits that are like think tanks. At one point, I had my own intelligence network working under me where I had a team of analysts. And nowadays, I'm a bit more on my own. I'm a senior fellow at a group called Capital Research Center that focuses on like nonprofits, particularly those that are extremists. So that dovetails with what I do. I do that a little bit of that part-time. But besides that, I have my own nonprofit, the Mauro Institute. So between that and my podcast and stuff, I'm trying to get things going on my own because the sad reality is that the biggest headache I've had is that because these things that I talk about involve both political parties, in terms of employment and clients and business, you always have one side that wants to muzzle you. Like there's very few people that are like, hey, objective morality. It's like very tribal, where it's like, don't talk about Tucker, don't say anything negative about Trump. And then if I'm working with someone on the left, it's like, don't say anything bad about Obama. And it's just like, it does a disservice to people. You got to see the totality to understand what's going on.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up. What would you say? Because most of us are like that. Sometimes I'm like that. I'm sure all of us to a degree. Don't talk about my team. Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk. The joke is, don't say anything bad about my brother. I'll say whatever I want to say bad about my brother, but you better not say anything bad about my brother.
Yeah.
What would you say what would you suggest, if you will, right off the bat, for people that like, hey, look critically at everybody. By criticizing Ryan, I'm not saying I hate Ryan. By saying, hey, this is an area that Ryan might have a blind spot, or Ryan might not be 100%. I'm not saying that he's not a good person. I'm just saying he has a blind spot. He might not recognize the problem. How do we get people into that space of recognizing that and being okay with not tearing them down, but just critiquing and helping them look better?
Man, what a great. Yeah, that's the first time I've gotten that question. So I would say, I mean, your life is going to improve. You get comfortable with people doing it towards you. Like that's one of the benefits of being a public figure. A little bit of one is that you got to deal with that right away, or you lose your mind. Most people lose their mind. But I would say recognize that compared to God, we are all dumb and probably a little bit wrong about everything. So every conversation isn't really so much about I'm right and you're wrong. It's how wrong am I compared to how wrong you are, maybe.
I'm less wrong.
That's probably the right way to do it. And if everybody was humble and stuck to objective morality, especially when it comes to political, religious type things, the civil society would be saved. We wouldn't be in the condition that we're in. People would just have sharper minds, because your brain is like a muscle. It develops. Like if you are just tribal and just do the team thing, it actually rots over time. I
agree.
But like biologically, that's absolutely true. And so I would say, humility, Christ-like love to everybody. I mean, push yourself, and it gets a lot easier very quickly when you force yourself. So you may say, oh, I'm faking it because I hate that person. You actually won't over time. You act it out, and you actually won't. And that'll give you a good. It'll help you in life, but for this stuff, it'll give you a really good intellectual shield to keep out some of the tribalistic filth, but also the hostile foreign influence propaganda that everybody, including myself, is swimming in. And every single one of us has a flawed interpretation of something due to it, including myself.
Right. Like I'll tell you right now, like that guy right there, this guy right here, he's no good. But me, I'm good to go. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, I totally agree.
I totally agree, man. I'm telling you, I totally can understand it. So, and I did skip over a term. You used the term that I really would like you to unpack. So I'm glad that you are in this space. And that is the term intelligence. And now most of us have a working knowledge of intelligence. Like we all have a level of intelligence. We're on the best live chat on the internet, the most electrifying comment section. So we know that there's a level of intelligence. But what does the term intelligence mean, Ryan, as you're using it?
In today's day and age, it's getting fuzzier because so much is open source, meaning publicly available. Before it used to be like anything that's like classified, secrets.
Got you.
That would be considered the information, the operation. But now the vast majority of information is publicly available. That includes information that previously would be classified. If you talk to people who deal with classified information, the first thing they're amazed at is how much of it is already out there. But the classified file, actually, you can put together through a Google search,
Right.
And so intelligence would be anytime I would say you're trying to get semi-secretive, undisclosed information and analysis to uncover something that's not readily apparent and is to some degree weaponized. And so you need to protect yourself or protect others from the weaponized agenda of whatever that secret coordination going on is.
So so let's go back to the Cold War. So information was not readily available on these here internet streets, right? So we had to go and secure it, and intelligence agencies were filtering through all of this quote unquote information, whether it be from spies or from wherever they're getting this information, to understand what the next move is going to be. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's changed in that it's gotten easier.
It's
now
everywhere.
where,
Like,
yeah, you don't have to do
here's a
lot of
spy
that
network.
now.
Let me join the spy network right here. Right.
That's it.
So now the information is decentralized. I guess that could be a good way of using it. It's decentralized. So now
Perfect.
We can pick up our smartphones and we can learn something about a third world country that we never knew. And that information, and maybe we might even know information that might be quote unquote declassified or would have been classified in another timeline. So what do we do now that we have almost too much information? It's almost like that rascally serpent said, "You shall be like God." Like, we almost have too much information and it's fried our brains, for lack of a better term. Like, what do we do?
We haven't adapted to it. So honestly, if I had the choice, I would scrap the entire public school system's content and just focus on critical thinking and adapting to this, because this is the starting point. And if you look at what our adversaries, like the Russian government, extremist groups, the thing that they're all saying, they all agree upon, it's like the one thing I would say they're right on about is that our weakness is our civil society. So they've been waging a war against us. You think of covert ops, you think of intelligence, economic sabotage. Like, you think of all these things, but what people don't think of is an assault on our civil society, meaning our ability to get along, our ability to learn, share information. So it's not just from their perspective about inserting pro-Russian, pro-communist propaganda, in many cases even anti-Christian propaganda. That's in there, and we're used to that. But the objective now is actually just sin and filth. Like, you look at what they want to talk about. Even our adversaries, like in Russia, they proclaim themselves to be a holy country, to be like the true representatives of real Christianity. But you look at what they're trying to do, they say what we need to do is engage in sin ourselves, which is violence, spreading hatred, and things like that. And we need to get the Americans especially to engage in more sin, hate, just basically act very un-Christ-like, so that you buy into these horrible ideologies, but America rips itself apart, that it's no longer a melting pot. It's just everyone fighting with everybody. You can't have a constructive conversation. And that's why they'll promote things like any conspiracy theory. So it's not just like, one of the decisions they made was, yeah, you want the pro-Russian, pro-Chinese conspiracy theories out there, but if you just promote conspiracy theories in general and make that normal, the brain rot that results from that, the other stuff can slip in a lot easier. And you can get people who are Americans to say it, and then Americans will listen to Americans more than they'll listen to someone who's like Russian or North Korean or Iranian. And that was a decision they made. I mean, they made that decision in the 90s, and you're seeing the fruits of it now.
I got you. So would you agree that the quote unquote black pill movement is part of that PSYOP, misinformation, propaganda, anti-intelligence issue that has us doubting pretty much everything? Because I know people now who doubt, who will doubt that you and I are on the screen. Like, they will doubt the most basic. Like, everybody should agree that Wednesday follows Tuesday, unless you've gone down this path. So would you say that is part of that movement to cause us to distrust and be at each other's throats?
Yeah, absolutely. Because what will happen is people will get apathetic and just tune out. From the perspective of our enemies, that's good. That's a win, because you've neutralized that American. He's no longer involved in the system. He'll be focused on other things. So he's taken care of. You basically killed him. It's a casualty. The others, you want to, if possible, you want to make some believe in your ideology. Good. All right. So then you neutralize them. You win them over to your side. The others, you just want to mess with their brains. You want to make it so that everyone hates each other, so a lot of them just say, well, I can't tell what's true and what's not true. And so you have one group of people that say, so I'm not even going to try. And I have some degree of respect for that. Like at least you have the humility to not get super arrogant and be like, all right, this is too much for me. And then you have the other people that will become, because of the information overload, absolutely convinced that they are an expert of historical proportion. And they double down on their tribalism. And that's kind of the objective of this whole thing, is to get everybody act more tribal, I guess, get more arrogant. and make it so that America and the West is so paralyzed that nobody, including these countries' own populations, like in China and Russia, they have to worry about their own populations wanting freedom. Well, if you can make America ugly and look like it's in a state of paralysis, and make even Americans not believe in their own country anymore, then that's no longer attractive. You've just secured your own rule as a dictator, and you've done potentially fatal damage to your enemy, the United States and the Western world.
So you've mentioned, and I appreciate that, man. You've mentioned several times arrogance, I know it all, and it's such of that nature. All right, let's just say that pretty much 100% of us on this best live chat, to some degree, shape, or form, have fallen victim to that. What would be a way to us start unpacking that foolishness so that we could be at least humble enough to look at a conversation, or listen rather to a conversation like we're having, or have a conversation with somebody and say, you know what, I need to change there? Like, what would be some of the start that you would give?
I would say, consider it your patriotic duty. I would argue your faith-based duty as well. That every time you want to retweet something that sounds like it might be right, but you don't really know, but you hate that political party, so you're like, yeah, that sounds right, and you repost it. Understand that what you just did, from the perspective of our adversaries, that's actually a battle. That's not just a bad decision. That's a battle that they won. There's a corrosive effect every time you do that. And so every time you're calling someone an idiot, every time you say something offensive online, you think, oh, they're just words. People need to have thicker skin. I'm just passionate. I wasn't being insulting. I'm just passionate.
Right.
You damaged your country is what you did. And so once people hear that and they take it seriously, I think then a lot of those other things can follow, like incorporating humility and things like that. I think people just need to be educated about the issue in order to take it seriously enough to do it. And then I think the people who seem to be the most humble and end up being the most accurate are the ones who are complete nerds about this stuff. Like the more you know about it, the less certain you become. You realize how many knowledge gaps you have. And so just get people to honestly ask themselves, like I've had people I can't believe this. I've had people get mad at me, former friends of mine, because they were explaining to me how they were more qualified to handle the Middle East than me because they have a degree in biology and can't point out any of the countries on the map, but they just had some ideas from social media and I need to learn from them. And I said, okay, well, I'm willing to hear you, but like, what's the last book on the topic you read?
Right.
And I got told that I was being offensive and insulting. so that ended that relationship. I don't really know what else I could have done, but get people just to honestly ask themselves, like, did you actually check that? At the very least, how about this? Did you download Claude is my favorite AI, but Grok, ChatGPT, whatever. Did you run that by AI and ask it to fact check you on that before you said it? Most people will say no. And hopefully they get a little embarrassed and then they do it in the future. Because you should just be doing that. Before you make a claim, at least do that.
Well, I personally believe that because we have so much information at our fingertips, we all have secured a PhD in Dunning-Kruger. We all have a PhD in Dunning-Kruger.
Yep.
We all do. Like, and again, I've gone down that path before. Thankfully, before I got on YouTube, I went down that path of I know everything, I know I'm right, and I'm not wrong in any way, shape, or form. I'm just glad I wasn't on YouTube when I did it, though. That's all I can thank God for. I'm just so.
Does everybody know what the Dunning-Kruger thing is? You might want to explain that.
I've mentioned Dunning-Kruger before, and Dunning-Kruger is basically the idea. If you look it up, Dunning-Kruger, it's the idea that you know just enough to think that you know everything. So, it could be a simple topic, and most of us have doom scrolled on social media at night, and you watch something, and you're like, "Wow!" You went down a rabbit trail about auto detailing. You went down an rabbit trail about gardening or homesteading or fixing a roof or whatever, and you watch like 5, 6, 10 of those, and you kind of think you want to do it. You kind of think you want to do it. That's the onset. That's what Dunning-Kruger has bit into you.
Yep.
It sunk his teeth into you. And the venom is when you start telling people how to do it. That is when the venom is metastasized, and now you are a true devotee. you've watched 5 TikToks on gym shoe restoration or how to replace a cracked screen on an iPad, and now you're out here telling people how to do it like an expert. That is, I mean, that's just a simple, very comical way to look at Dunning-Kruger, but you can overlay that onto everything. Again, you watch 5 episodes of CNN, and now you're a geopolitical analyst. You've watched 5 Law and Crime, and now you're a pre-K law student. Those kind of things like that, where you are now an expert. And the last, I guess, good indicator that you know that you have Dunning-Kruger is when you argue with experts about it. When you see a lawyer explain, when a lawyer explains something and you wag your finger or go at your keyboard to tell them that he or she is wrong, that's a good indicator that you are in terminal Dunning-Kruger. Terminal, where you can't say, oh, wait. Okay, now Ryan is an expert in this area. Let me step back. Let me submit to his wisdom because he knows more than me. Nope. You argue with an expert. That's a real good sign that you are on the path of Dunning-Kruger. Yeah.
That the other good test is if you can't effectively argue the other position and cite evidence for it, the one that you don't believe in, you haven't researched it, because that position wouldn't exist unless there was evidence and solid logic for it. You may think it's crazy, but honestly, if you're saying it's crazy, that usually means you have failed to grasp why people believe it.
Correct.
So I'd say if you can't write a 5-paragraph essay with cited sources justifying the point of view you are against, then you have not done the due diligence of fairly considering the other side of whatever that is.
And let me also just add, if you're not able to, not only can you write a 5-paragraph, but you've never actually, personally, I think the first step to that is the fact that they've never looked critically at what they actually believe.
But everybody thinks that they have. That's the thing. Right. You ever ask someone, you'll never hear someone say, no, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah. And so a lot of the time people don't know why they believe what they believe.
Yeah.
And they've never actually taken the time to unpack, why do I believe this idea? Why do I believe this concept? Before they can even argue about whether or not somebody disagrees with them, they themselves don't know why they believe it. And then therein is the rub. That's where the problems, in my opinion, start off. Now, there's a lot of other little nuances, and I'm not saying by any means or measure that this is a broad brush, but I'm saying, like, again, just stop and think. Just ask yourself, as you're dealing out here in these social media streets, are you demonstrating? Do you actually know what you're talking about? And again, even if there's a possibility that the information is in a book over here, that still doesn't mean that I know it.
Right.
That just means the book. That just means the information's over there, and I can go get it and I can cite it. No question, no problem with that. But even in that, I'm just reading what Ryan wrote. I'm just reading what Martin Luther wrote, what John Calvin wrote. That doesn't mean I fully understand it. So me being able to cite it and point it out in a book, chapter and verse and context still doesn't mean anything because I don't understand it. So I appreciate it. Thank you for unpacking it. So that's why I say that these people have a PhD in Dunning-Kruger, because a lot of times we haven't actually.
It's a good way of explaining one of the core elements of the problem.
Yeah, and there's an intellectual problem as well, because I mean we are the probably one of the first generation that has so much information available to us, but yet understand so little. And I hate to say it, but I think it all started with Ford, and Ford had the idea and the theory. Yeah. Henry Ford had the idea that he didn't have to be the smartest person in the room. He just needed to know where to get the information from.
Okay.
And I might be misquoting him, but I do agree. That being able to find the information is key. That's what our various social medias and our various search engines are for. The problem is we're not humble enough to admit, like, hey, Ryan, I don't know that answer. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Can I get back to you tomorrow? Can I give you a call back tomorrow? And I'll find the answer to that. No. I'm going to argue you down left and right and center, all the way, argue you down all night, rather than say, hey, you know what? I don't really know that. Let me go find out real quick, and I'll be back. Or do you mind if I take a few moments to find that resource for you, and I'll come back and tell you why I believe X, Y, Z, ABC. But there's a level of humility, and we mentioned that earlier, that this generation, I'm just out to say this generation, but I think just society as a whole lacks because we don't actually have the humility to say, I don't know.
Right.
Because I don't know is an answer.
Yeah.
I don't know is an answer. Let me go find out. And now I'll go grab the book and I read it and like, that doesn't actually say what I thought it said. That's actually how I start.
Confidence levels too. When people ask me about things, I try to stay away from, unless I can like really prove it, saying this is that for sure. Because people like those firm answers. I'll be like, yeah, I'm about 90% confident this is what's happening, or it's 60, or I'll say, it was 90. It was 90. Now I'm kind of like, I'm getting towards 70. I would say trust the people that have that. First of all, trust people that change their minds. I know that's unattractive, and like if you talk to a publicist or an advisor for any of this type of stuff, they say don't do that. Like you want to be strong and super confident. Those people tend to be less accurate. You want to see people struggling with these ideas in real time, doubting themselves, changing, going back. Like you need to see that in order to trust someone. Otherwise, it is just an exercise in their ego and them just enjoying the platform. But especially value the people who give ranges of confidence so that you take the journey along with them in trying to figure things out. And so, all right, that I can be, he's certain about, but that he's pretty sure, but, not as much as he's certain about these other things.
I got you. Now, I'm going to slightly disagree. My philosophy has been to give a solid, firm answer but say, hey, I'm open to being wrong or being corrected. So let's say, for example, is today Wednesday? Yes, today is Wednesday.
Oh, in that sense,
But let's just pretend that somehow or another, some reason or another, I'm not clear or certain that today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say for whatever reason. I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty confident today's Wednesday. So I'm going to answer your question with a yay or nay. I do believe that the scriptures say, let your yes be yes and your no be no. So I'm going to say, yes, today's Wednesday. Now, I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'm going to go grab my phone. I'm going to go grab a couple of calendars. Let me look at it and see. Oh, hey, I apologize. I now see that today is Thursday or whatever. So you know what? I thought today was Wednesday because I thought yesterday was Tuesday, but clearly I missed a day. I don't know, overslept or something. I don't know. But I like giving firm answers on the front end and always just say, hey, but I'm open to being wrong. As Luther said,
like that would be because you're talking about a data point. So like if I'm saying, in 1987, did this Russian intelligence operation launch? Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's firm. But I would say whenever it comes to any type of theorizing where you don't act like what's happening now, what's this person's agenda, especially what's the strategy if it's not publicly declared, you have to recognize that's not something you can know 100%. You might be like 96%. You can't know it 100%. Something, whether it's Wednesday, is the sky blue? Sure. How old am I? 40. Am I male or female? Used to be one of those.
Used to be right. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, Ryan, without actually knowing a whole lot more than that, and I don't need any more confirmation. You're a guy, so I just want to let you know just in case that if that salves your conscience, you're a dude.
Thank you. I'm glad that I come off that way.
Giving male energy. All right. So, Ryan, one of the things they brought you on most people's radar is that you have been discussing. You were one of the first people to really make what I'm going to call the Russian connection. I need a good movie reference because there was like the French Connection, and that was a real good one. That was a funny one. But I need a good Russian one, From Russia with Love or something. I don't know. We need remember the French Connection? I didn't come up with a good Russian.
From Russia with Love, the James Bond movie.
Right, it's a James Bond movie. Yeah. Yeah, I made a thumbnail with Candace when she was dealing with the Macrons. It was called the French Connection, and it was actually pretty funny. So I need one. So down in the comments, let me know, y'all. Please give me a good Russian joke or movie that I can make a thumbnail out of. Okay, so you were one of the first people to point out the Russian connection with one lady, Candace Owens. Do you mind unpacking that a little bit and explaining?
Sure. So let me preface this by saying I don't actually care about her too much, but she's the perfect window into what's happening on a broader level that virtually nobody knows about, which is this Russian influence op. Some people know about now, but more broadly, it's Russia's czarist TSAR, like a dictator, czarist
Right.
Christianity that they're promoting that has anti-Semitism in it. And it's basically the premise is that Putin is good, Russia is wonderful, but it's also a holy government because in free societies, you know, look at America, it's filled with filth. I mean, Russia's society is worse, but they play upon Hollywood to say, all right, well, Christianity is dying. Traditional moral values are dying in the West. Why? Because there's freedom. So if you really care about your faith, you need to care a little bit less about the Constitution in your country and embrace a little bit of dictatorship. Otherwise, you're not a true Christian. The true, authentic Christianity enforces it a little bit more so that people don't all go to hell in a handbasket. And so Candace Owens is just, they're trying to make her the tip of the spear of it, actually. But she's just a good way for me to, I mean, it's fascinating to go through the connections, but I'm aiming to make a light bulb go off for people to realize how we're being attacked and what's headed to your church, because that type of thinking is spreading very rapidly. But I started with Candace just coming out being pro-Russia. Like she just started being pro-Russia openly.
It was crazy.
Noticeably, it was actually shortly before Russia invaded Ukraine. And she said, you know, I'm thinking about becoming a member of the Russian Orthodox Church, which most people don't understand the significance of that. I mean, first of all, how does she even know what that is? Like, she's not into this topic. So I knew someone was feeding it to her at that point. But that's also been controlled by the KGB and communists since forever. Like, it still is. Yeah. So if you say I'm an American, it's like I'm thinking of joining the Russian Orthodox Church. That's not just spirit. Like you're saying, I'm thinking of becoming a member of the communist apparatus in Russia. And so then I just followed who she was hanging out with, and it just became so fascinating. All the Russia-linked people that appeared in her life since 2018 on, until we eventually ended up in this scenario this year where she took a very deceptive trip that she lied about for a very suspicious trip to Russia that I thoroughly enjoyed blowing up in her face, because she said it was a family vacation.
To Russia.
And I was already highlighting some of her connections to Russia, but what I hadn't said publicly was if she's getting sued and is going to lose those lawsuits, like virtually everybody thinks she will, I looked at every option. So I'm like, what can she do to preserve her wealth? What is she thinking? And I could only come up with one option, not two, one. And it was shift your assets to Dubai, which is what like Russian oligarchs do, and her friend Andrew Tate does and brags about, and move to Russia. And so when she started talking about how living in Russia is just like living in America, and she started saying all these propagandistic things that go beyond your typical pro-Russia propagandist who will have caution. They'll be like, you know, I don't agree with everything Russia does, but America's wrong. Like that's a typical pro-Russian propagandist that they have at least that. She doesn't have that. And so I knew, I'm like, something is going on. And then when she announced she was going to Russia for this family vacation, and within 24 hours, I found out the real reason she was lying. She was actually going to an event that Russian intelligence organizes every single year. Jeffrey Epstein and his Russian assistant used to help organize it.
Oh, wow.
And it's a spot to recruit Westerners into their information, into their influence operations. That's the purpose. It's the most secure spot you can go for secret meetings with Russian collaborators year round. If you don't want to go inside a government building, which is just like, it's too obvious, then what do? You go to this big event, and that's where she was going. And before she left the US, I released that information, and it went very viral very quickly. But most people focused on the fact she was lying about it and how it was weird that she was going to Russia. Only a portion understood the bigger dynamics here of, I think she's playing the option to move there, but even if she doesn't, she's still part of the czarist Christian offensive against the United States and against the body of Christ.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to go back to, that was very interesting. I'm going to come back to that for a second, but I do want to tell people, when we were talking about Dunning-Kruger effect, right? People that know just a little bit, and they preach it and talk about it as if they're experts. Candace Owens. Pick a topic that Candace talks about. Pick a topic, and you're probably somewhere on the spectrum of Dunning-Kruger. There's very little that I believe this woman actually knows in her being, in her soul. what she says about Christianity, what she says about Islam, what she says about fill in the blanks. You would be, if you looked at Candace and you've ever wondered, like, how does she get away with this? That is Dunning-Kruger, literally in 4K on steroids, as I like to say. That is it. So just take that and run with it. Check it out. Come back. Email management if you disagree.
So that's who they target, by the way. Like the intelligence services that do this stuff, they look for that. And if you look at how every Russia-linked person who has appeared in her life since 2018, when this began, and they began looking at her and saying, that's someone we can work with, they all praised her in the same over-the-top ways that normally, like if someone came to me and started saying, you're going to go down history as the biggest freedom fighter of all time for having liberated both black and white minds from slavery, I get a restraining order. Like the Russia-linked people that appear in her life from then all the way up until now praise her in ways that sound cartoonish and like a complete joke. But they're obviously sharing notes because if you're trying to recruit or build a relationship with someone, you're not going to take a gamble acting that weird and creepy because you might repel them. But they all know, praise her in the most obnoxious, unbelievable, puke-worthy way, and do it publicly, and it works. Every single one of them does it, and it's specifically the ones that are linked to Russia. So there's some information sharing going on, and that also encourages her to be worse. Like, I couldn't believe it when she said, I knew she was arrogant, but when she said, someone put together a compilation of like the more new age wacky stuff she was saying about how her and Charlie Kirk had superpowers and things like that. She actually
Milk
said,
Bar did.
What's that?
Milk Bar TV did.
Yeah, Milk Bar. Yeah, one of my favorite accounts. She actually said, "This is God's platform. I am God's conduit."
Yep, that's crazy word.
You look at how she says it. She believes it, and she has people around her telling her it too.
No, I agree with you 100%. For some reason or another, Ryan, your audio is fuzzy. You're speaking. Okay. And I don't want that to lessen. I don't want your speaking to have Dunning-Kruger effect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop you back just for a second, and I'm going to just give me a thumbs up when you're good. All right. So if you're wondering, we got Ryan Mauro on the channel tonight, and we're having a good conversation, just talking about counterintelligence. And of course, now we're talking about Candace Owens. So in the chat, feel free to drop your comments and all that kind of good jazz. I'll try to bring those on as well. So let me bring my guest back on. All right. How are you doing?
Switch the mic. Does it sound better?
That actually sounds a little worse.
What? Okay. Because I have my wireless.
Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Okay. Let me double check it's me. Hold on one second. Go ahead and talk, Ryan.
How about 1, 2, 3?
It sounds fuzzy to me. All right, they say you sound awesome, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take what they're saying.
Okay.
All right, they say you sound good.
Sound better now or before? Because I switched mics.
I mean, we're going to roll with it. We're going to roll with it, my brother.
Oh, okay,
I love
sure.
it. Okay. All right. So help us understand, in your assessment, what is Candace today? What is she? Is she an asset? Is she a propagandist? Is she working for the red state? Like for Russia? Like what is she?
She is someone who is ideologically in league with Russia at this point, partially for the selfish ambition of preserving her wealth if she has to go move there. But even beyond that, she likes how they boost her. You can see the bots, the trolls. I mean, Russia's official propaganda networks and Iran's amplify her. Like that's part of the reason she has a big audience. She knows that.
Yeah, for sure.
More broadly, what you see is someone filled with hate and bitterness who claims to be a Christian. And I honestly believe that her highest ambition, her identity, is to be the anti-Erica Kirk and to match Erica, and how Erica had her moment at Charlie's memorial where she acted in an amazingly Christ-like way. I think it was a historical moment where things could have gone south because people were talking about, is there going to be civil war? The governments who hate us, we're all excited and trying to ramp things up. And Erica goes on stage with the American flag behind her, Trump's up there, and she forgives the terrorist who murdered her husband, and she meant it. You look at how she did it, and like people say she has acting classes like that. Even if some of the motions were adopted, like that was authentic. And for the first time in my career, the enemy propagandists who normally lie and spin about everything, but they react to everything, maybe all of them were silent. Just like how the Bible says when you speak the name of Christ, Satan flees. It's the first time in my life, in like actual physical life, in what I study, I saw that occur, because they all just had to just not react to it. They couldn't spin it. They couldn't lie about it. They had to flee. And there was a revival, a wave of goodness among Christians and non-Christians that resulted. Was amazing. But then just like the snake in the garden, you had Candace Owens come along and act in the complete opposite way in it was like a mirroring, like the bizarro version of Erica. And I believe, because of the way she talks about it, she wants her own moment on as big of a stage as possible with an adoring audience, but to be the contrast. Erica speaks with love and forgiveness. Candace will speak with hatred and bitterness and vengeance. Erica will be on the American stage. She will be on the Russian stage. Erica was on the stage with Trump and probably future presidents. Candace will be on the stage with Vladimir Putin. And when Erica promotes a not anti-Semitic, a pro-American, authentic Christianity, Candace Owens wants to be the one with Putin promoting this czarist Christianity that she believes she's a warrior for. It's a Christian civil war. She's right about that part. She's wrong about which side is the correct side.
Okay. Okay. Let me give you another example, just so people can understand how because somebody said, you gotta be careful about using absolutes. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that 100%. But like, for example, somebody might ask me, I will say emphatically, Candace Owens is not a Christian.
Really? You'll go that far?
That's it. Really? Like that. No, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I will stand on that hill. Now, if you want to show me, convince me from the book that she is, and I will absolutely change my perspective. But I will say emphatically right now, today, on Wednesday, Candace Owens is not a believer. She's not a regenerate individual. Christ has not saved her, period. That's where I stand. So I'm going to give you a yes or no answer on that regard. So I just want to give another example of that as we get ready to move on. But
before we move on, here's something almost nobody knows, because I haven't done a podcast about it. I only made one quick tweet that almost nobody knows about. So she finally blocked me. She typically doesn't block anybody because she wants the engagement. It's good for her, even if they don't like her. The guy who has been influencing her, one of them, but the main guy since 2018, is a guy named John Mappin, who is a senior official in the Church of Scientology. And he's also operates at senior levels of the Russian government by his own boasts. So he's essentially part of the Russian government, high-level connections in China also, and is a high-level member of the Church of Scientology. He blocked me at this almost the exact same time. But what did I do? I asked them both the same question. This is what the trigger was. I said, what is Candace's stance on Scientology? Has she ever practiced it, even part of it? Because sometimes they'll get around it by saying, I'm not a Scientologist, because there's like a carve out, and they'll say, well, I'm a Christian. Scientologists believe you can be a Christian or a Christian, Jew, Muslim, Buddhist, and Hindu all at once, and a Scientologist. So from an intelligence perspective, it makes you very adaptable, because you can deceive like that. So that was a very pointed question. I knew I had enough of their attention because of the stuff I had released that they'd at least see it. And finally, that was the trigger that both of them blocked me. So why? Of everything I've done, it was me asking whether Candace is a Scientologist or practices any element of Scientology is what did it. So there's something there. That's a good catch. You might be much more right than even I thought before I thought about it. About whether she's a Christian or not.
No, that's a great catch. And one of the things I've noticed is just how much she attempts to position herself. And I brought this up to a guest earlier this week, and noticing how anybody who brings scripture to bear before her, who cites and quotes scripture or points to the book, chapter, and verse in context and uses that as their reference point, she calls them fake Christians. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but the vast majority of Candace's base are not Christians.
Oh,
they
really?
are either, no, the vast majority of them are not believers in Christ at all. Or, and even more, they might be Muslims. They might be another faith system, but they're not Christians. And I've asked people this multiple times, show me a solid, faithful, biblical teacher or pastor that supports Candace Owens. You won't find
Only
one.
the anti-Semitic ones I know of, Joel Webbin and people like that. Yeah,
it doesn't. That unicorn doesn't exist. That purple dinosaur doesn't exist, and so it does lend itself to my belief that, well, again, as I said before, she's not a Christian. She's not regenerate. But even more than that, the people that she attracts are false converts or people who are not converted at all themselves, but they think that they're doing the right thing because they're quote unquote fighting for justice. And you notice that she's pivoted off of justice for Charlie to now, I don't know, somewhere in the multiverse. I don't know what they're doing at this point. But so now these people feel like they're righteous. And I'm sure that they've been, you've interacted with these people in the comment section, that their mission is to ask questions. Their mission is to get Tyler Robinson off, or that's their salvation in a warped, twisted world. That is what they're doing in order to prop up their own salvation, because they themselves are not in Christ. And I know people don't like when I say that. Well, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Apart from her confession, show me her possession of Christ. Show me it. I'll wait.
Do you think she thinks she's a Christian?
I apologize.
Do you think that she believes she's a Christian, or is it a conscious lie down to that level?
I don't think she believes she's a Christian. I'm sorry. I think she knows that she's not a Christian. There
Really?
you go.
Okay.
I think, and I've done this timeline before. Notice when Charlie Kirk met her, she was praying to the universe. Okay, she was believing in reincarnation. When Charlie Kirk met her, she was a New Ager.
I have not heard that.
She was a New Ager when Charlie Kirk met her. So a lot of the stuff that she's saying now about astral projecting and lights coming on and Charlie coming to her dream, a lot of that is consistent with who she was pre-Charlie Kirk meeting her. And her quote unquote conversion, if you will. I've done the deep dive in her giving her testimony of her salvation experience, and it doesn't rhyme anything with anything biblical at all. And so, this 120-mile march that she did as a Catholic. She claimed to have been a Protestant and then she converted to Catholicism, but both of those testimonies are woefully absent of any grace of Christ at all. So when Charlie Kirk met her, she was praying to the universe.
If you wrote anything, or maybe it's a specific podcast.
I'm gonna have you switch that microphone back, because I cannot hear you now. Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna drop you back. I'm gonna look at a couple of quick comments. Yeah. So Ryan is definitely saying that she's basically, I won't say a closet, but she's basically a Scientologist. Yeah, she's Catholic. I wonder, Body Cam Bureau Media, I wonder, does she actually go to confession? Does she actually participate in this? Because I'm finding it really hard to believe that a functioning pastor or priest that really believes in their faith would allow their congregant to behave like that. I'm really finding it hard to believe. Now, maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe because I'm Presbyterian, my pastors talk to me about my content. My ruling elders talk to me about my content. I don't understand why her die-hacking it don't talk to her about hers. Mine talks to me about mine. What's going on? So that one just seems weird to me. All right, let's bring Ryan back here. See if this audio is right.
I'm back to the wireless mic. Does that?
It's got to be me. It's got to be me. Let me see something. I'm going to switch. Go ahead, Ryan, talk.
How do I sound now, guys? Maybe in the chat, people can let me know.
Everybody else says they can hear you. It's got to be me. Maybe I need to put myself in timeout. Let me do this. I'm gonna let you have a drum
Just
solo.
hand it over
I'm
to
gonna let you, it's me. It's got to be me. I'm gonna let you have a drum solo, Ryan. So I'm gonna let you talk to the audience for a hot second while I reset my microphone. I mean my audio. 1 second.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll give you guys some highlights of my podcast that kind of tell this story that I think you guys will appreciate. So I launched the Counter Offensive, my podcast, about a month ago, because when I discovered the evidence that she was likely planning to move to Russia, and that she was not telling people that she was meeting with the company that does that for people, especially Americans. Like, that's who she stayed with when she went to Russia. So it wasn't just the Russian intelligence event that she went to. That was a cover. The people she was with were part of this company I discovered that move people with 100% confidentiality to Russia so they can build this like base of conservative Christians, especially Americans, to attack America with. And so that was the first episode. And then the second episode is called When the Bear Targeted TPUSA. That's when I talk about in 2018 when Russia and the Church of Scientology, exactly how they identified Candace as someone to put resources towards influencing. So I broke that down. And then the episode after that, the last one about her, was actually about the Iranian regime amplifying her and how there is someone linked to the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, their semi-secret operations within her circle, although she may not know it. So that's kind of my plug. But that's the type of stuff that I cover that if you find the story interesting, you can find that out on those 3 episodes.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. It had to be me.
Do I sound okay now?
You sound fantastic. So
Beautiful.
Let's go back and rewind. Right. Let's rewind the last 30 minutes. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Right. Let's redo the last 30 minutes. No, it was something with me. I don't know what it was. I got some gremlins in my system that I probably need to excise out. I'm probably this weekend tearing the whole system apart.
Demons.
But that's why I don't even mess with Candace. And they're attacking anyway, man. Like Wormwood, man. Leave me alone, Wormwood. What are we doing?
Wormwood.
So
I want to start a campaign calling her that. If I knew how to make things go viral, that would be so funny.
No, I think it would fit. It would fit.
Yeah.
Well, you can call it Screw Tape, and then more people would be. They would, or what was the other? There's a couple of demons' names in there. Yeah, definitely Screw Tape. I think Screw Tape would stand out. People remember that because from the book. So as we look at Candace, what's something that people, in your opinion, Ryan, they have wrong about her? What's something as you look, and you could be like, from what aspect, you just pick an aspect, but what is it about her that people just don't understand, or they just have the wrong viewpoint on?
I would say to think that she's influenced by anything substantive besides her own extrapolation of who has offended her most recently. What I mean by that is, when did she turn against the left? It was because people on the left hurt her feelings because they didn't like social autopsy and some of the stuff.
Social autopsy.
So now she not only dislikes them, I love the people that you hate. That's her getting them back. I'm going to cause you pain. The person you hate the most, I'm going to become their warrior. And then when did she start really turning against like Ben Shapiro and Jewish people? It was when she was on a high because Kanye West liked her and she always wanted to be a big celebrity, like in the entertainment world. It wasn't even politics. That's where she wanted to be. And people like Ben Shapiro criticized her very gently, actually, because they said, when Kanye West is saying things like really bad things about Jews in general, you probably shouldn't embrace that. And that's when you can see she started turning. And it wasn't that long after that she got, especially after the October 7th attacks happened, that she became really anti-Semitic. And so let's not kid ourselves that's not even so much due to the influence operation. That's just who is hurting her feelings. Can she blame them for why she does not have the success that she feels is due her? And then she hates whatever group she associates that person with. And that's the constant pattern here. Why did she hate Christian Zionism? Why did that happen? Because Christians criticized her by siding with Ben Shapiro. So it's like that was the trigger. Why does she hate Trump so much? because they didn't rally behind her, but Putin did. Like you can find that
Yeah,
at
you can see it, right?
stage.
There's a good through line. No, I appreciate that, and I think we could probably unpack it for 2 days, but I do believe a lot of this goes back to the fact that Candace has not been regenerate. Candace is, in my opinion, based upon information and belief, Candace is just reliving the last 2 years of high school. It's like Groundhog's Day. Just that mean girl. I have daughters, and I can tell you right now, mean girl thing is real. It is real. And I've seen it with their peer group, their friend group. When they get turned up, man, it is something different. I try to keep my daughters away from it, but I'm just like, man, like it's like she's reliving that little segment of life where you're a little bit autonomous. So you're getting out here, you're able to go to the game by yourself, you're able to drive, you get your little parking spot at the school, and you're just mean and vicious. Girls are different. Girls are mean to each other at a different level than boys are. And
True.
If you're a parent in the chat, go ahead and say amen, because I know I'm right. You can go ahead.
I've also dated women, so I've had friends that are women also, and yeah, it is something that guys cannot relate to. It takes a long time for us to see it because they're always 10 steps ahead of us. So if they're manipulating things and doing friendship wars, you usually don't see it if you're a guy like me, unless you had a sister. I don't have a sister until it's too late. And you're like, oh, I see this was in motion for months. But you make a point that I'm now thinking that might be worth exploring on more deeper level, because I would say, yeah, she acts like the mean girls. Like I've made that comparison, but but you said she might be stuck there, and I'm wondering, maybe is there a psychological condition we can tie to it? Maybe something happened there.
I must tell you. I'm going to tell you.
People stuck like that.
I'm going to tell you. Again, this is Jason, based upon information and belief. Ryan, do you know that Candace Owens was a victim of racial attack by some boys in high school when she was in high school?
Yeah, then she got arrested for harassing them back, if I understand. If I remember right. Yeah.
Right, but remember, and you know that she sued the school district. Remember that? Yeah. And got about $30,000, I don't know, $21,000, whatever. She got that. In my opinion, that sealed the deal. Right there. That event, that transgression, let's just say from sophomore to senior year, that sealed the deal. Everything else behind there, everything before then was all locked in right there in those 36 months, because she found out that being a victim pays. And being a mean girl pays. And she got all of this clout. She got, there was a press conference, the news was all around it. And the great thing about it is everything was sealed. So nobody can go back now and look and find out who were the boys, what did they say? Can we hear the audio? What did they show? What was the evidence? None of that is available. So she literally was just springboarded out onto the stage, if you will. Now there's tons of variations of this. Yeah. There's tons of variations of this, but I really believe that she's just reliving this over and over and over again. Take this situation and apply it to Turning Point. She said something about the failed art student of Germany got run out of Turning Point. She goes to Glenn Beck, gets run out of there. Goes to Ben Shapiro, gets run out of there. And the same thing just keeps happening over and over and over again. The common thread is Candace Amber Owens. That's it.
So how come other people will have things like that happen at that age? Why would she be stuck? And especially with the struggles she's had that are self-inflicted over and over, why would that result in an inability to learn at all?
So let me real quick. I apologize. It was PragerU. I apologize. I said Glenn Beck. Right. That said PragerU. Sorry about that. But I mean, we could look into her family structure. They had some family turmoils that everybody has. Nobody who's been alive for 3 minutes and 8 seconds has not had some kind of family struggle, some kind of family turmoil. Everybody's not living sunshine and rainbows. So, but I don't think that because of some key elements, because she also tells a lot of stories about her family. But do you know the family that she talks about the most, Ryan?
No.
Her grandfather.
I remember her saying that she was mostly raised by like grandfather or something like that.
So what's the logical question that one would ask if I told you, Ryan, that I was raised by my grandfather?
That my parents, there's a problem there.
There's a problem.
You have any idea
There's
what
a
it
problem
was?
with my mom and dad, and we don't know what the problem was.
We never see them. We never hear about them.
And we also
don't act
never
like
hear about
parents, you know?
and we never hear about grandma. We hear about granddad. Now,
Right.
I have family members, I have loved ones that are in my life that were raised with their grandmothers. They'll extol their grandmothers, especially the highly melanated community, Black people. We tend to extol our grandmothers more than our grandfathers. But you hear about the granddad. You rarely hear me say I was raised by my granddad. A lot of people say I was raised by my grandma. And again, this is just a little bit of semantics, but it just doesn't comport with.
Interesting.
It doesn't comport with Black culture. It doesn't comport with Black society. It doesn't comport. Most people say I was raised by my grandmother. And of course, granddad was there. Granddad was out in the field working. Granddad was down at the mechanic shop. Granddad's a part of it, but most people would look at grandma and say, I was raised by my grandmother. She was raised by her granddad. Where's your grandma? And better question, where's your mom and dad?
Yeah.
Because periodically throughout the stories, she'll bring up mom and dad. Mom will pop up. I'm sorry, she'll bring up mom. Mom will pop up, but why are you with your granddad then?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. So these are things that I just like, hey, maybe we should unpack you just as much as you unpacked Erica and your false, phony, and fake analysis of Erica. Maybe we should look into you. But this is the last thing that I bring up to people. I think a lot of the stuff that she does is projection. A lot of it.
Well, yeah.
And we know that a lot of the things that Candace, like the subject that Candace loves the most, that she gets the most fulfillment out of is what, Ryan?
Candace.
So if she can't talk about Candace, because it might cue off to me people if all I talk about is Jason. But maybe I'll just talk about bald Black men with really nice beards wearing an olive green polo shirt, talking loud in their studio outside of their kitchen. And I'm not talking about me, but boy, those olive polo shirt wearers, man, they really are great people. Great. And I bet you they're really great dads. And they probably name their kids some really funny names about their kids. And, they're probably great. And, they're probably going to go walking after they get off their live stream, whenever they, if they live stream, of course. I'm not saying they do, but they probably will. And man, they're just great people. Notice I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
But I'm projecting it on everybody else. So if you take this, just take a second. Again, I could be wrong, y'all. Email management. Look at what she says about Erica and just ask yourself, does this apply to Candace more than Erica?
Yeah.
Because you do realize she's saying things authoritatively about Erica. Now, the logical thing is you'd have to wonder, how do you know that? She has gone into the Dr. Strange, into the mind. She's doing Xavier. She's doing Dr. Xavier, like reading people's brains. How do you do that? How do you know what Erica thinks?
Right.
Unless it's what you actually think.
Now, why wouldn't she? It's so apparent, that between that and her inability to see these patterns and like, I'm being mean, because there's even a quote where, like, I have the clip where she says, "Oh, I used to be a bad person. I was just mean." Okay, so she knows that about herself. She probably, in her mind, improved a little bit, and she thinks it's a mile, and it's really just an inch of improvement. But I still, and it might just be because I don't have daughters and I don't have a sister, but I'm still trying to understand, like, all those elements. Like, I understand the trauma. I can understand why that would lead to poor judgment. The inability to be self-aware and learn from these behaviors resulting in failures that are painful. I still don't understand what the cause of that is.
Okay, I'm gonna go back. And again, actually, we talked about it in the opening salvo, Ryan. It's pride. It's arrogance. The belief that I'm always right. That woman says stuff that is so wrong. A literal toddler could point out the errors sometimes of what Candace says. What does Candace do? Does she say, you know what? I apologize. Matter of fact, even on this stream right here, I just made a mistake and somebody put it on the screen. I said, you know what? You're right. my bad. I said Dennis Prager. I'm sorry. I said Glenn Beck and it was Dennis Prager. I admitted that I was wrong right there. You find an instance where she'll do that and not caveat it to death, but find me an instance where she'll just say, my bad, Ryan. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for calling me out about that. Show me that one.
Yeah.
And I will absolutely, because there is no humility. She is always right. And even when she's wrong, she's going to find a way to caveat it, to smooth off all the rough edges to the point that it's right. She's going to square that peg some way or another, rather than just say, my bad, Ryan, I was wrong. I said this, Ryan, I told you I was going to call you back, or, I said this, that, and a third, and I was wrong. My bad. Nope, Ryan, you heard me wrong, Ryan. Ryan, right. it was during, what it'll be? It was during the segment when my earbuds was sounding fuzzy and I didn't hear it right, Ryan. My bad. No,
right,
it was the technology's fault. It was the audio gremlin's fault. Instead of just saying, I was wrong, I made a mistake. But she'll never do it. If somebody, I still have the open request for somebody to send me a video of Candace actually admitting she's wrong without caveating it.
That's funny. I made an X thread where I said something like, all right, so if we're supposed to know people by their fruit according to the Bible, I would like any Candace fans to point to me an episode that resulted in them doing something specific that was more Christ, like charity or strengthen their faith, and tell me why. If she's this great person for Christians to follow, just find me one episode. Everyone attacked me, the bots and the authentic people. I only got about 3 answers, and it was all just, the episode after Charlie was killed, because you saw that she was sad and she was on a crusade for truth, and I'm like, that's not, I asked for specific, that's not.
let me give you a better example.
All the hundreds of comments, everyone just saying like, oh, you're ugly, you're gay, you're a Zionist, all the insults. That's all I got. And then those were the answers I got, was just pointing to the first episode that's most famous that comes to their mind, rather than being like, oh, I really liked that lesson on this, and that really made me do this differently. Nope, none of that. Because
it doesn't happen. So this is not to correct you or anything like that, but I would probably approach that a little bit different. And so
sure,
it's fair to say a person who is full of the Holy Spirit should behave in a certain way and should have some kind of manifestation, if you will, or evidence of fruit in their life. Is that fair?
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I were, to make it very simple, if I live here in the South, I should have some fruit and evidence that I live in the South.
Yeah.
Right. I don't live up north. Right. So, or if I'm married, there should be some fruit that I'm married, and my fruit is in the kitchen banging some pots right now. I don't know what they're cooking, but they're in there cooking. So there's the fruit of my being married, because that's where they are. So I'm gonna bring this in just to show you maybe a different way to approach that question that will help them be a little bit more. So hey, here's the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing is, a lot of people skip over this, is that when Paul started writing this in 16, he also gives the fruit of the works of the flesh before he gives the fruit of the Spirit. And it says this, but I say, walk in the Spirit, and you'll not gratify the desires of the flesh. But the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit. The desires of the Spirit are against the flesh, for these are opposed to each other. And this is the ESV. And it's Galatians 5:22 is where we're getting to keep you from doing the things that you want to do. But if you're led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and all things like these. Okay. I warn you, as I warned you before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruit of the Spirit, and this is where I would go with this question. Say, hey, everybody, this is the fruit of the Spirit: is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. Can you show me book, chapter, and verse in context? Send me a clip of Candace exemplifying any of these fruit.
Right. That's good.
Because what I'm going to do For every fruit that you show me, every video you send me of her demonstrating the fruit, I'm going to demonstrate and show you that she is actually walks in the works of the flesh.
Yes.
You want to go?
Yeah.
Let's go. Because I don't think it's even hard. It won't be hard at all. Matter of fact, she showcases it. So therefore, I'm going to pull up everyone. So why don't you show me these? And you don't have to do the back and forth, but you can just say, hey, these are the fruit of the Spirit. Can you show me Candace demonstrating the fruit of the Spirit?
I know what they would say, and it would be lame because it's their answer to any challenge like that. They'd be like, oh, kindness? She's pursuing truth. She's being kind and trying to find Charlie's real killer. Like that. That's exactly how they would spin it.
That's not even like, that doesn't even make sense. Like
it doesn't make sense, but that's what they would say. I can promise you that's the response you get. Let's see. So, patience and peace and love. Yeah, out of love, she's trying to make sure Charlie's true killers are caught. Like they'll just take a positive word and just attach that to her behavior in general, and they don't get more specific.
Okay. So, all right, here we go. All right. You know what? I'm willing to give you that. I'll give you every last one of those. If you can apply it to how she deals with the Macrons, I'll give you every last one that you just said right here. Can you show me her demonstrating the fruit of the Spirit as she deals with Brigitte Macron? I will absolutely give you all those other ones that you just gave me. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There you go. There you go. Because this is, again, like, this has only been the last 11 months. She's been sadly running amok for years. So, like, again, I mean, hold on. How are you demonstrating the fruit of the Spirit when you sit there and you advocate for somebody who's guilty of this right here? S, immorality, Harvey Weinstein.
I forgot about that. She's done so many horrible things. I forgot about her defending him. Yeah.
So, like, help me understand it. Idolatry.
Yeah. Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Sorcery. I'm sorry. Astral projecting is sorcery.
Yeah. Right.
Enmity, ma'am. I'm sorry. You trying to tell me you're not jealous of? And she has a type.
Yeah.
She has a type that she despises. Blonde hair, blue eyed women. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
Fits of anger. You literally said that you are angry because you're pregnant.
Yes, she did.
And you're called to make and have patience and love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and what is this? Self-control. Not only self-control when you're not pregnant, not only self-control when you don't hit your thumb with a hammer or step on Legos in the middle of the night, but all the time demonstrate self-control.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
Yeah. She admits she has her biggest weakness. It was actually, she reiterated this in a conversation she had with the Russian Orthodox Church channel when she was in Russia. It actually did seem genuine when she said her biggest problem is like not wanting revenge, which she feels like wrong. And she kind of spins it to make it sound like, oh, I'm righteous. But the way she said it, there was just a little glimmer of truth in her eyes that I don't normally see. That something was going through her mind. She's done something that she is not proud of related to that in the past that I saw come out in her eyes just a little bit for about 2 seconds. Yeah.
That's not even a reach. Again, like I said, and we've said it before, she's a queen of projection.
Oh yeah.
If you take everything that she says about Erica Kurt and just strip Erica's name out of it and overlay it over Candace, are you stretching it? Are you making it work? Or does it fit like a glove?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Fits like a glove, yeah.
It's going to fit like a glove.
By her own words, though, like what she indicts herself when she says, she admits she has a problem with self-control if it involves revenge and vengeance. And I'm just saying, I've heard her say it before, but this one time I saw her say it, it's just for that brief moment, I was like, ooh, there's something going. I can tell she's thinking about something specific. And I don't think it was Erica or anything. There was some there was like a little insecurity I had never seen before, which tells me that as bad as she is, what you see publicly in terms of vengeance, privately, it seems it must be much worse. Even worse.
No, I totally believe that she's tormented by her past. I believe she's tormented by the same demons that infest her. So they empower her and embolden her, but I do believe she's tormented by the same ones. She probably had. I could imagine what living with her is like.
Oh
I can
my
imagine.
God.
I can imagine.
I often
But
said, you know how people say the rumor that George Farmer is gay? I say, I don't know if he was gay when he got engaged to her, but based on her behavior, I'm pretty sure he's gay now. Because
right. He's like, look,
being like a guy married to a woman who acts like, imagine what an argument is like. Imagine the thing that she's having trouble forgiving you for, that some mistake you made. Like, I don't know how anyone could be in a marriage with her and be like, you know what, I want like another relationship, a romantic relationship like that. I want married. Like, how can you be happy ever?
So there's a common thread, and I apologize to all the women in the chat. I'm going to just say this right now. It's commonly known that women don't generally admit they're wrong. There's some that do, but as a broad brush, I got my big old broad brush here, ladies in the chat. Most women will not admit they're wrong. Okay, it just happens, and I know it to be true over here at Whitaker Park. Now I bring that up is because can you imagine Candace trying to being dead wrong about something, not paying a bill, not being wrong about something, just dead wrong.
Yeah.
And George like, honey, you're wrong about this. And her not even like, see, I told you, they'll never admit they're wrong. They never will admit they're wrong.
That's so funny you say that, because man, it's going to seem like I'm trying to do the white knight thing. But in my personal life, actually, women seem to have been, just in my personal life, it's an anecdote, far more willing to admit that they've messed up or were wrong than the guys in like the workspace. Like it's been the opposite has been my experience.
Okay.
I've heard most people do say what you say. Just my personal life experience, it's actually been the opposite. I guess
and hear
it's
me.
Oddity. I don't know.
Right. And hear me. I'm not even worried. I got too many hills I'm dying on tonight anyway. So I'm not going to worry about dying on that hill. But I'm like, I've seen him like, you're wrong, right? You do know that what you're doing is wrong. Or you know that, right? Just go ahead and admit it. You're wrong. But imagine her and George going at it about her being wrong. Not George, but her being wrong about something. It's crazy work. I can't imagine.
And he's not like the both. Like when you see him talk, like he's very like soft spoken. Like he doesn't come off like a guy with this huge backbone or like a strong presence. Yeah.
Because George probably doesn't have a strong backbone, because as Tina said right here, it's better to live in the corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. George probably living on the roof, man. He probably don't live.
Maybe she's not letting him. Maybe he's locked up in there.
Oh, he might. Yeah, he might be living there against his will. He might be locked up in the attic. He might be the flowers in the attic.
Thought a lot about how to get out. I'm sure he has.
George is so far from alpha. He's quadruple zeta. That's how far he is from alpha. He is quadruple zeta. All right, that's how far he is from down the list. Thank you so much. All right, I don't even remember where we are. I think we hit all our questions though. But Ryan, all right, sure. Ryan, give us the roadmap back to some semblance of normalcy for just the general populace. What do we need to start doing today so that we can start being less tribal, more willing to hear and engage with people that we disagree with and accept that maybe we're wrong?
Just try never to get riled up by anybody. There's no reason. I don't know why people scream over political issues that they're not going to impact, but people get so heated over it, and it's been like normalized. They say, "Oh, well, it just shows how passionate I am." It's like, no, you're being a jerk. So temper that down. Recognize that, especially if you want to convince someone, people hear you the more relaxed they are. So if you're getting someone wound up, like don't think you're winning an argument or you're making any progress. You're not. So focus on battling that demon within yourself, and then just get used to relentlessly fact checking things before you say it or before you share a post. Be humble, and like I said, recognize that, especially if you believe in God, we are all very dumb compared to God. If that's what truth is, objective truth is God, then you can be certain we are all wrong about everything. It's just a matter of to what degree we are.
Facts. Got you. I love it, Ryan. Thank you so much, man.
Sure,
Ryan, that was good, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good conversation. I enjoyed it.
if the moderators have been dropping the links in your chat, so hopefully everybody will definitely go over and check out what Ryan's doing on his YouTube channel. What's your best? This is a good question. What's your best social platform that you're on? Which one do you really like?
X, Ryan Mauro, and then YouTube, Real Ryan Mauro.
Got you. Okay, so you're primarily. Thank you so much, Tina. You're on YouTube and X. So if you don't go to X, if you're anti-X, have no fear. You can go if you're anti-X, you have no fear. You can find them here on YouTube. But no, I like that because I've noticed a lot of people they do have one platform. Like myself, I'm mono platform. I really like working, putting all my effort and attention into YouTube. But I do understand that there are other people who are on other platforms. So I just want to make sure we give you an opportunity. So y'all go check them out on X. Yes, dust off your X profile, your little X login information. Log in and follow Ryan and then log out. Okay. Just help.
I'm on Facebook and the other ones too. Just my favorite are X and YouTube.
I got you. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it, man. I want you to have, thank you again. You're welcome whenever. If you ever want to hit me up, we can have a conversation. We'll come on for Friday Night Lights one time. We'll sit around, watch some body cam footage and crack jokes.
That'd be a lot of fun. Cool.
Yeah, we're doing body cam this weekend with Natalie. So that's going to be a good one.
Cool.
Doing some body cam footage or whatnot. But Ryan, again, thank you so much, friend. Here's your website as well. Look,
that's where people can donate to my nonprofit if you want to help me keep doing this on my own, which is an open question. Because if I'm owned by someone else, they're probably gonna try to muzzle me and limit me in a big way.
Right.
So. Yeah. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, not a problem at all. I'm gonna make sure I want to double check, make sure I am subscribed to you, but I'll do that as well. If you want to hang around to the end, Ryan, I'm gonna go ahead and end this out, and we can catch up at the end. Everybody, I'm gonna drop you back, and I'll be right back, my friend. Everybody, thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. That was a lot of fun. Please make sure you support Ryan. We want to continue to support good content creators that are following in a path that we want to go down. We want to see more like this, so we got to follow them. We got to support them. So thank you all to the moderators. Thank you so much to the fantastic content, the live chat. Oh, by the way, thank you so much, Christelle. If Candace is truly pro-Christian and pro-America, why is she defaming Charlie's widow while siding with anti-Western figures? Where is the discernment? You know what? That's a fantastic question. And you know what? I did not see this before I dropped my guests back. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring them back. All right. Ryan. Hey, Ryan. All right.
Yes.
What do you think about this question?
I
Candace is truly pro-Christian. What do you think?
Pro-America now. In fact, she said in Russia, she said that she's abandoned the American dream. She also said something to your point about what she used to be like before she started grifting. She started dissing the founding of the country, saying we're too young and stuff. And that parallels what she used to say about the Constitution until she had to join the right, where she said the Constitution should be in a museum. Now she says so many things negative about America, but like blatantly says like why I'm angry at America. And like it's very, very clear. Would she say she's pro-Christian? She said she would probably say she's pro-true Christian, like Putin. That's probably what she would say.
I wouldn't doubt that. I would not doubt that at all.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, Ryan. Now I'm going to drop you back. I'm going to get us out of here, my friend. All right. Thanks again, Ryan. Okay, that was it. Y'all, thank y'all so much, everybody. I appreciate you. On Friday, for Friday Night Lights, we got Natalie coming on. We're going to be doing body cam footage. We're going to have a good old time. Body cam bingo. So come on over and check it out. I'll make sure the link is up in the morning. I do have some videos coming up tomorrow during the day, so please check those out. I do appreciate all of you all for watching, liking, commenting, all that kind of good stuff. I really do. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the moderators. If y'all could do me a favor on your way out the door, please make sure you tip your waiters. Do me a favor. Green hearts on the way out the door. Make sure you like the video. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Oh, by the way, I got a new ending.
These are the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and discipline, for comprehending words of insight, and for receiving instruction in wise living, and in righteousness, justice, and equity, to impart prudence to the simple, and knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and gain instruction, and the discerning acquire wise counsel by understanding the proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake the teaching of your mother, for they are a garland of grace on your head and a pendant around your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not yield to them. If they say, come along, let us lie in wait for blood, let us ambush the innocent without cause, let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and oh, like those descending into the pit, we will find all manner of precious goods. We will fill our houses with plunder, growing in lot with us. Let us all share one purse. My son, do not walk the road with them, or set foot upon their path, for their feet run to evil, and they are swift to shed blood. How futile it is to spread the net where any bird can see it, but they lie in wait for their own blood. They ambush their own lives. Such is the fate of all who are greedy, whose unjust gain takes the lives of its possessors. Wisdom calls out in the street, she lifts her voice in the square. In the main concourse she cries aloud, at the city gate she makes her speech. How long, oh simple ones, will you love your simple ways? How long will scoffers delight in their scorn, and fools hate knowledge? If you had repented at my rebuke, then surely I would have poured out my spirit on you. I would have made my words known to you, because you refused my call, and no one took my outstretched hand, because you neglected all my counsel and wanted none of my correction in turn. I will mock your calamity, I will sneer when terror strikes you, when your dread comes like a storm, and your destruction like a whirlwind. When distress and anguish overwhelm you, then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will earnestly seek me, but will not find me, for they hated knowledge and chose not to fear the Lord. They accepted none of my counsel, they despised all my reproof, so they will eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the waywardness of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will dwell in safety, secure from the fear of evil.